Hey guys, how you going? I hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all, so hopefully you find this one interesting. This movie is an action film from Finland, English language, released in the year 2026, directed by Jalmari Helander, and this film is called Sisu, Road to Revenge. So Sisu, Road to Revenge is about a nameless main character. He's this elderly, hardened individual. In the first film, he actually came across a battalion of Nazis, and he demolished them, and now he wants to go home. He wants to take down his family home and build it in Finland, and so he's going to go through Soviet territory, but along the way we realise that his family were actually slaughtered by a Soviet commander named Dragunov. Now, before he gets to Finland, this main character, and rebuilds his home, he has to get closure, and to get closure he's going to exact revenge upon those that did him wrong. And so Dragunov is in his sights, and anyone who is stupid enough to come across his path. So whether or not he gets that revenge is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Sisu, Road to Revenge. I really liked the first Sisu film. That was a lot of fun, and it was a throwback to when movies were entertaining. Movies that didn't have to have an underlying message, didn't have to have double meaning, didn't have to make you search through and find out what was going on. It was just popcorn entertainment. And for action movies, they are few and far between. When you think of the great action films like Commando, movies like Predator, they were films that were just having a lot of fun. The carnage that was performed in front of you, you just had, you turn your brain off, leave it at the door, and just forget that the world exists. And so action films these days, they have to have depth, they have to have character development. It's not cannon fodder. You're not marveling at people just being blown to bits. And so there is a sense of realism in these action films that takes you out of that realm of entertainment. And so it's okay to have a 2D, one-dimensional action film if it's done very well. But unfortunately, crowds want something a little bit different. And so coming into Sisu, when I first watched that movie, it took me back to films like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, where it was a one-man army, where it's a suspension of disbelief. If you're after realism, these films are definitely not for you. And so I just missed that. And so when I saw Sisu, it really took me back to that. And that's why I love that first film so much. Now, Jalmari Helander is a very good director. He made a film called Rare Exports that I absolutely love. That was a very dark Christmas film that was very different, and also Open Game with Samuel L. Jackson that again was very different. And so he's a creative director, but he's never trying to hit you with pretentious value. He's not trying to have these underlying messages. His films are actually quite simplistic in its approach and its storytelling, but just a lot of fun. He understands what it is to be fun, and so that's something that a lot of directors lose, and this is the reason why I really wanted to check out Sisu, Road to Revenge. Was this a sequel that was necessarily needed? Not really. But was it a sequel that I was very excited about? Yes, it was. So having my fingers crossed that this wasn't going to be a letdown, I saw the trailer. It has Stephen Lang as Dragunov, which I really like, Richard Brake, and also has some familiar faces from the first Sisu. So the recipe was there for success, and after watching this film, I was so glad to see that this movie really delivered as what I was hoping. And again, what I was hoping was fun. And Sisu, Road to Revenge is bucket loads of fun. It's very gory, it's very, very silly, and it was actually quite funny. Some of the silliness gets to the point where I was actually chuckling to myself. And I just realised that I was loving the experience. When you go along, it is very, very fast paced. It's breakneck speed, and you have very caricature villains, very caricature situations, but the situations are done in a way where you just completely disconnect yourself from the real life. If you're going through bad things in your life, this is the perfect film to really forget all the things that are going on. You can disconnect yourself for 90 minutes and just have a lot of fun marveling at all the chaos that Jalmari Helander is putting in front of you. So the main character, again, he hardly ever speaks. I don't actually think he speaks a single line, and he's just this one-man killing machine, but he also has a little bit of warmth to him, which I liked. And so it wasn't trying to give you character development as much. It was a case of his family was killed, so you want him to exact his revenge, but it's done in a way that's not trying to make you feel really sorry. It's not trying to disturb you. It's just trying to give you a setup as to what's going on. Alright, this Dragunov, he murdered this man's family and children in really barbaric ways, so you get that hatred for him. And so you don't hate him because of necessarily the person that he is, but what he's actually done. And so that is the movie is just basically telling you someone is bad because of what they've done, and it just sets out a really simplistic template, and the self-awareness allows it to jump off that template and just completely explode in absolute insanity. The choreography and the action set pieces in this movie were absolutely phenomenal. I loved the way that some scenes involving aeroplanes and also some motorbikes. The motorbike scene actually reminded me of Mad Mad Max, and there's some really funny moments in that, and there's some really funny moments in the aeroplane sequence. So when you see the film, you'll know what I mean. It's really, really well choreographed. It's very thrilling, edge of your seat, but at the same time really fun. It has that suspension of disbelief. It has that disconnection from reality that you just really absorb yourself into the level of entertainment that the movie produces. And so that was fantastic. So as I said, Stephen Lang's performance as Dragunov was fantastic. Very over the top villain, and so it is definitely black and white, good versus bad. And so that was something that I liked, is that wasn't trying to have an underlying message. It wasn't trying to sidetrack itself with other side plots. And so for that, I just loved, it was just good old-fashioned action, and that's what I loved, and that's why this movie works so well. So it's very gory. There are some scenes that are actually very, very violent. So if you like the violence in the first film, this movie really does live it. Actually amplifies it a little bit more, which is something that I liked. And I thought the ending was really hard hitting because of the fact that it was so insane. So you're not going to believe what you see, but after you see it, you just think to yourself, all right, this is a throwback to classic action films where you have a lot of fun. And if you hate this type of film, this is not for you. But if you want to have fun, you want to disconnect yourself from reality for an hour and a half, this is the movie for you. It's cartoonish violence, but it's cartoonish violence done in such a good way. I really, really like Sisu Road to Revenge. I wouldn't mind seeing this become a franchise, because I don't really see myself getting tired of all the carnage that Jalmari Helander throws at you. And so if you like Sisu, you're going to love Sisu Road to Revenge. As a result of that, I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars. Go out there and see it. It was fantastic. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.